Whoa, what is this? I'm not Eric. I'm Charles Hankola, and welcome to Bounty Hunt, a Youtini Network podcast where we hunt down all the extra content in the Star Wars universe. Ambulance, right on time. If you know the show, you know that well. I'm joined here this week, not by Eric, sadly, but by two of my best friends here in the fandom, both Corey Helton and Wes Jenkins. Guys, how we doing? He just couldn't leave us alone.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and switch it over to me. Eric, I wish you were here, man. You bring such an energy to the show that it's quite fondly we miss, or I miss.
Yes. You have no audio? Oh,
no audio.
Corey. We can hear it.
Hold on.
Yes, we shall vamp without our best vamper. Anyways, our mark this week on Bounty Hunt is the Bad Batch Season 1, Episode 6, Decommissioned. So I've seen it once. Wes, you said you've seen it a couple of times now?
Two times.
Two times. Corey finished his first watch through about 7 seconds before we pushed this live because Bounty Hunt. I don't know how often we have to tell you guys that this is a very laid back show, shall we say. But let's go ahead and talk about what happened, and then we'll talk about what we thought about it. How's that sound?
I like it. Let's get into it.
Do I have sound now?
Do you have sound?
Check. Okay, I see my little bar moving over here, so I think I do. I don't know what happened. That was weird.
Got bars.
I literally changed nothing. Yeah, but I did. I'm sorry. Well, you missed my intro. I just crapped all over Eric, but it's all right.
Yep.
It's
all right.
probably good that we didn't hear that, actually. So we don't need to re-record. We can just get right into the intro.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Do it, Charles. Do it.
All right. Well, let's do this brief recap of the episode. So everything opens with Omega, or for those of you who are in the know, Omega, kind of nearly committing manslaughter as she learns to use her new bow that she obtained from the Zygerian slavers. Her aim may be shaky, but her resolve is rock solid. Sid shows up and demands the Bad Batch take on a new job to obtain a tactical droid from a decommissioning facility on none other than Corellia before it can be melted down. Why? Because tactical droids know how to fight against clones who have become the backbone of the new empire, and a lot of people would pay pretty handsomely for that information. The Bad Batch takes the job and sets off for Corellia, managing to sneak past the planet's scanners by attaching their ship to the underbelly of a massive cruiser, not unlike Han and the Falcon in Empire Strikes Back. The crew quickly locates the tactical droid's head, but it's snatched up by someone else before they can get to it. Just who, you ask? None other than Trace and Rafa Martez from Clone Wars Season 7. A chase ensues, and when Omega is confronted with Rafa, she pulls her bow, but during their struggle, a stray shot sets off a chain reaction in the facility, as well as alerting a team of security droids to descend on their position. After a struggle back and forth, the Martez sisters and the Bad Batch work together to escape, bringing the tactical droid back online and programming it to command the rest of the droids in the factory to attack the security forces. During the excitement, Wrecker manages to hit his head yet again, and this time the ensuing headache also comes with the familiar phrase, "Good soldiers, good soldiers." On their way out of the facility, the tactical droid head is destroyed. The Martez sisters drop off the Bad Batch back at their ship, but not before Rafa questions Hunter for trying to steal potentially dangerous information for an unknown buyer, whereas her buyer plans to take down the Empire. Hunter then gives her the information that Tech was able to download from the tactical droid while he was reprogramming it. And after they part ways, Rafa places a call to an unseen figure and reports that she knows where a group of rogue clones can be found. So that's it for Decommissioned. Guys, what did we think? Rate this episode on a 1 to 10. Wes, how about you first?
So when I was thinking about this, I was giving these episodes a higher rank, in my opinion, because they kept leaving us on these cliffhangers. Like, who are they talking to? Who is this person that they're trying to send information to that's going to be this big reveal? And they've done it to us twice. I think actually they've done it to us 3 times now. So having said that, I mean, without getting into the nitty gritty, I'm going to give this episode a 7.6.
7.6. Okay. Corey?
I'm actually going to give this one a higher rating. Now, given we had a little funny thing happen here to the host of Bounty Hunt, and nobody else is going to think it's funny except for me. I'm getting ready for the show. I'm post call. Charles is post call too. We both been awake all night and freaking exhausted at the hospital, and we're getting ready for Bounty Hunt. I'm like, crap, is everybody ready? And they're like, yeah, let's get together at 1:30. I'm like, wait, I have to watch the episode. I literally forgot to watch the episode. I guess that's what sleep deprivation does to your brain.
The one thing you have to do for this show.
I know. The only thing you have to do is watch the episode and show up, and I somehow forgot to do that step, right? So I rolled over in a drunken stupor and pounded a coffee and watched it this morning. And so I'm not totally processing everything. I didn't really get the whole thing about the ship mounting to the other ship. I didn't even see that. So I'm definitely gonna have to go back and watch that.
Early in the episode.
Yeah,
I was still rubbing your eyes.
I was still rubbing my eyes during that part. But I actually really enjoyed this episode. Much more than I kind of figured I would, and I'm happy to talk about all the stuff I really liked about it. I think I'm going to give this one a higher review than I usually do. I think I'm going to give this one a 9, actually.
Nice. That's awesome. I'm kind of where I was last week. I enjoyed this episode more than some of the more recent ones, but I think just about as much as last week. So I'm going to give it the same score of an 8.0.
Okay, nice.
So really no bad scores here. I think we all enjoyed it well enough. Everything that I'm seeing in the chat so far seems to be that people also really enjoyed this episode, especially apparently seeing the battle droids back.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Which was fun. But I guess let's
something else. Sorry to interrupt you. Something else that hit me immediately, as soon as the episode opened, that correct me if I'm wrong. Did we have a repeat of what we had last week? Is this the first time we've seen Corellia in an animated show? Was this in Clone Wars? I just Googled Star Wars The Clone Wars Corellia, and I don't see any images from the TV show. Is that possible? How did we make it through 7 seasons of Clone Wars and never saw Corellia? That's crazy.
That does seem off, but I can't think of a time when we've seen it outside of Solo.
Me either. And I literally just watched Solo 2 nights ago.
Great choice.
I couldn't sleep at the hospital. I had some time to sleep, and I couldn't sleep because I was wide awake, because that's what happens when you get in the routine of night shift, right? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch a Star Wars movie. What am I going to watch? I'm going to try to fall asleep to something. And I watched Solo, and I couldn't fall asleep. And usually that's my go-to, right? I'll pick a Star Wars movie, and it helps me fall asleep. Not Solo, man. It's too good. I can't watch Solo, and I can't watch Rogue One to fall asleep. They're both too exciting for me. So loved it. I love Corellia.
Films only.
I know, episodic films only. I love Corellia. And I'm quite frankly pretty shocked that we've never seen Corellia in an animated show. And it was refreshing to see that.
You would
first...
think that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I said you would think that if you had seen any Corellia anywhere, it would be in the Clone Wars, because there's so many episodes and they're trying to do a lot of callbacks to bring people into the show. And having not seen it is, it's kind of strange.
And the thing that hit me, which always hits me whenever they completely create a planet from scratch as animation, is just what an enormous undertaking that is, right? We see only a few seconds of Corellia. There's very few seconds of animated Corellia in this episode, but these animators, man, the amount of research that they had to do to show 3 seconds, they had to do all these frames, and there was concept art. I mean, I can't imagine how challenging it is to create a planet from scratch in animation. And the fact that they're willing to commit to stuff like that for 3 seconds of screen time is seriously impressive. Last week we got Ord Mantell, this week we got Corellia, and I'm like, these are 24-minute episodes, man. I just can't believe the commitment to that creation in this art style is really, really impressive and continues to astound me.
And I think that shows the growth that probably the animators have had through all of the animated Star Wars that we've gotten. Because think back even to Rebels, and how long were we on Lothal? Because we just can't make a new planet every week for the show. But now they're doing that, and I think that's amazing. Man. I wish we had seen more of Corellia than we even got to. Because once you were kind of in the factory, you were in the factory. But maybe they'll come back, right?
Yeah.
Because you would think that to invest that much time, they might come back.
Yeah, maybe they're doing the base, they're doing the base map for all these worlds. So in future works, whether it be animated or live shows, they already have the basis of what they can build off of. So they just they're like, hey Dave, we're gonna use we're gonna use your draft plans. Thanks for doing all the heavy lifting. we're just gonna be able to use these instead. Thanks. Take us 10 minutes.
Well, let's talk a little bit about some of the characters and some of the stuff that actually happened in this episode. And I figured we'd start pretty much where the episode did. So let's talk a little bit about seeing Omega finally use this bow, or this light bow that she's using. What were y'all's thoughts on seeing her with her target practice in Sid's bar, and then how she was able to use it throughout the episode?
I love that, man.
Before me and Charles were talking earlier, so apparently the Sid's bar has this reinforced steel or something where you're allowed to shoot these projectiles inside without it going through the wall, right? So you get your free target practice area, and it's apparently safe.
Yes, safe. Wes, do you bow hunt ever?
I do. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Like, I don't personally bow hunt, but I've been around folks that have bow hunt my whole life, right? So like that is accurate. That practicing, like if you've ever seen kids like try to shoot a bow for the first time, that is basically what happens. Like, I mean, they're just like all over the place. Like, it's fantastic. So I kind of love that. It was like they really did the research there.
Very dangerous. It's very dangerous to do that kind of stuff.
It is.
You have to have a strong base with your front arm, and then you pull back with the muscles in your back and not actually your arm.
Yeah.
But what they're doing is they're just trying to separate. And while you're trying to separate, you're just going all over the place.
Exactly.
And this one hand just lets go of the arrow and it just goes somewhere.
Yeah, right.
And if you've ever been to an archery range, you'll look up into the rafters and up on the top of the wall, and you'll see a bunch of arrows stuck up there.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what it's like. Yeah, it's crazy. And I couldn't help but think during that whole thing, how impractical is a light bow? Like in Star Wars, like there's not like a huge amount of recoil with weapons, like using a light bow just seems completely impractical, especially for a kid, right? Because it takes a lot of strength to pull the dang thing back.
So do you think that like it would be like a real bow, or like if you only pulled it back like a little bit and let go, like a bow would just be like two.
It's like floppy.
Does the force really matter?
I don't know, man. It doesn't make a lot of sense. The light bow. It's a cool concept, but it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah. It looks so cool.
It does look so cool.
One thing that we did answer was it's not a stun bow, right? Because we thought they would give her some kind of some kind of stun or something because she's a child, but. No, they gave her a lethal weapon. So
yes, they
cool.
did. Yes, step in the right direction. Loved
she
it.
very nearly killed that innocent patron walking into the bar. I mean, like, let's not glaze over that fact. We talked about how dark this series has gotten and how like maybe it's not the best thing for all kids to see. And let's teach the kids now to play with lethal weapons near open doorways in public facilities.
Seriously.
So that was fun. But I think, I don't know if maybe Omega was curling that gonk droid on the way to Corellia or what, but all of a sudden she had enough strength to use that bow at the end of the episode.
So that was funny.
She was very steady. She had a good base to her. She was just ringing it back like Sid did, like 3 rapid fire shots.
Sid was no joke.
Yeah, Sid's kind of a badass, like I have to say. And I think I really enjoy seeing a fat Trandoshan. Like it just makes me happy. Like they look kind of frog-like, but like they're also still vicious. So I like Sid a lot. She's really grown on me as a fantastic character. I hope we continue to get her.
What she was when she first showed up.
Me either. Like, when you guys said she was a Trandoshan last episode, I was like, oh, I guess she is a Trandoshan.
Yeah. She I really like Trandoshans. I mean, Bosk obviously is the main one that you think of, but like Skier and the High Republic stuff now, and Sid, it's really cool to see the different ones. It's funny though how they talk. Not all of them do the long S's.
That's what I was gonna say. Why do some of them have a reptilian accent and others do not?
I figure it must be like. I don't know. I'm from Charleston, South Carolina, and I don't think I really have much of a Southern drawl, right? So maybe it's like that. Like, how far into your regional dialect are you? Maybe it's that.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. Oh, it's funny, man.
So, well, let's talk about the actual facility itself, because again, there's a lot of stuff in the chat early on here about getting to see these droids again, and not just the B1 battle droids, but the super battle droids, right? The B2s as well as the tactical droid. It had a very like Attack of the Clones vibe to it, right? When they were in the droid facility, in that film. So. What did you guys think about getting to see some of those old droids again in action?
Great nostalgia fact right there. And then, so Corellia is a shipbuilding planet, right? And then what was the planet in the very beginning of Jedi Fallen Order? Let's start with a B.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the actual like
planet, where they were taking
all the Clone Wars
apart.
It was also in Resistance Reborn, and I can't remember the actual name of it now. Someone will drop it in the chat.
Yeah. So
Braca, there you go.
Braca.
Yeah.
So they were
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
So they had those two different planets, but I didn't think Corellia was a decommissioning planet, but apparently, that's another attribute you can add to Corellia. They build ships and they break down droids.
Yeah.
But it was really cool in seeing the super battle droids, and then seeing, I guess, all the regular droids. But I noticed on the tactical droid, like only one part of his mouth lit up. Was that just because his head was cut off and it was banged up, or is it because it only has like on the left side of his mouth, only one part was lit up?
Really?
Oh, he's got
I don't know.
Corey.
Yeah. I don't know if that's how it's always been, or if I've never noticed it, but that's one of the things that the details
I love that you noticed that. I did not
I
notice
know,
that.
Wes, you always notice
hard
something.
Wes is doing his homework. He doesn't always read the books, but he watches these dang episodes.
I always read the books just at the very last minute.
I really liked the throwback to Geonosis. It was cool seeing it like breaking down droids instead of put them together. And I don't know, I have a lot of questions about the state of the galaxy and the Separatists and stuff right now. I mean, because Corellia is a Republic planet for sure. No, it's not. No, it was a Separatist planet. That's right, it was a Separatist planet, wasn't it?
Well, look at what happened in Solo, right? They were already kind of taken over by the Empire, and then wasn't
I can't remember.
Wasn't the guy that we really hated in Resistance Reborn? Wasn't he based on Corellia as well? And he was an Imperial. You remember that guy who like beat up the young girl?
Yeah. That was
sucked.
Yeah, he was a jerk, man. Yeah, he was also on Corellia. Wasn't all right in Clone Wars? Do you remember Padme's friend who was the
blank A? Yes.
The what? Blank A, yes. Padme's friend, the lady who had the son that Ahsoka became friends with, and they went to Mandalore and stuff, or they went to, Wasn't that Corellia? Wasn't that?
That was Mina Bonteri.
Yeah, Mina Bonteri. Isn't she Senator of Corellia?
No, not Corellia. No, different planet that I can't think of the name of. That's why we have the chat. So
I know. I know. All right,
B Nasty said they're melting down these droids to build ship parts, which makes sense.
Yeah.
What if they didn't melt them down all the way and there's like
an arm,
a droid head? Yeah,
there's an arm hanging out of the side of the ship.
Dude, did you guys? So bringing up the smelting pot that they had going on there, did any of you guys like kind of lose it when Omega actually fell in there? Because I assumed all those like droid pieces were like already super hot. And
yeah,
she, like,
me too.
It, and I was like, oh my god,
she's dead. Okay, it's not hot yet. It's only hot at the bottom. Yeah, no, it was like Toy Story. I seen in Toy Story where all the toys are going down to the incinerator. It's like no. Anyway, so what I was trying to say about the whole Corellia thing is like this makes me ask a lot of questions about the state of the Separatists. Like, what happened to them? Are we gonna find any of that stuff out, like in this? And what happened to the Separatist nation? Because it was like, it was all arranged by the Emperor, but like it was a real movement, and all of these planets got together to actually break away from the Republic, and suddenly they have no army or anything. Like, are we gonna find out? Point. Are we gonna find out anything about the aftermath of that? I mean, I imagine they had to have huge ripples through these planets and stuff. Like. So like, are they shipping all the battle droids to a Republic planet, like to Corellia to be broken down is an interesting thought. Like, because I imagine all the factories for these types of droids and stuff are not on Republic planets, right? They're on Separatist planets. So I don't know.
We do know that Tarkin is trying to save money, right? So one way to cut down on raw material costs is to reuse recycled materials.
Yeah, it's
that
true.
aren't being used anymore, right? So you can't use these droids for anything.
Maybe that's a way to save money.
About Tarkin for reduce, reuse, recycle right now. Like he's being responsible.
I agree.
Yeah, Cheryl and Anakin. Yeah, sorry. She said in the chat, like, didn't Anakin kill the Separatist leaders? Yes, she did, but just the leadership, right? I mean, we saw in Clone Wars they had a whole like Senate, right? Like their own Senate or governing body and stuff. So there's like tons of politicians and all kinds of things, right? So I imagine there's entire planet governments that are.
You have the Empire, then you have the Rebels, which aren't really a real cell, but I guess it is a cell.
Not yet. Yeah, probably not yet either. Yeah, right.
And then you have like the Separatists that probably have, they're probably not a little less organized now that all their leaders were killed, but so never really thought about that, having 3 factions out there on top of all the crime syndicates, right? So yeah, man, it's chaos.
Onderon. Mina Bonteri is Onderon. It's not Corellia. That's right. I remember it being because they remember her son fought for their little.
You're close.
Saw Gerrera and stuff. Yeah, shut up.
Well, I think that's a good point. I always kind of just assumed what was left of the Separatists just kind of got absorbed because we know Palpatine's not going to leave those people.
Fetus deletus. Oh my god. Throwback. How does that episode always come up? I swear.
Right. If y'all don't know what we're talking about, we go back and listen to our roundtables on
Lost Stars.
Lost Stars, thank you. When Sienna absorbed her fetus twin sister. And there's some good points in the chat here. Carter Hunt says that Cassian Andor is getting a show and he was a Separatist, so it makes sense that we'd maybe see some of this before 2022. Yeah. So that's a really good point. And then B Nasty says it's interesting to think that maybe the Falcon is made of melted droids.
Yeah.
So, man, I'm sure L3 loves that.
Yeah, we'd have to crunch the numbers, I guess, to figure that out if that's possible. But that is a cool thought. Let's talk about some other stuff that went down inside this factory scene. Before we get to some of the bigger things, guys, Wrecker's headaches. They're getting worse.
Yes, they
are. To see and hear things and say things. And how'd you take all that?
I thought for sure this was gonna be the episode he's gonna turn. Like they're building up to it so hard. Like
they really are.
I hope he doesn't die. Like I hope he doesn't like. I don't know, man. They're building up to it as if it's gonna be an enormous climax. I'm kind of worried about it, man. Like Wrecker is such a lovable character, so I don't know. I thought this was gonna be the one during all that chaos when they're fighting out their way out of the factory. I thought that's when Wrecker was gonna turn. It was really gonna introduce a whole bunch of crap. So
yeah, what if he like? So it's gonna develop this, got this crescendo and this giant climax of him basically turning, I guess. But y'all seen Batman and Robin, right? Of the original Bane that they created.
Yes.
What if they grab Wrecker and they just pump him up with these weird,
looks like Bane. Oh my god,
steroids, and he's just like unstoppable superhuman or super clone takes over everything.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, I was actually pretty shocked that we saw him get that far in episode 6. I mean, I can't even remember how many episodes are going to be. 14, something like that. We're not that far into this season to see something like that, and so I was actually pretty surprised. And then I started thinking about like, dude, where's Crosshair at? Like, what has he been up to, for goodness sakes? Like, we haven't seen him, it feels like, in ages.
I know.
So, yeah, I don't know. We really might see him turn here pretty soon. He was like just getting out. He would say, good soldiers, but he never got out to follow orders. So I'm sure we're going to hear him say that soon.
Yeah.
But let's talk about some other people who just seem to randomly show up inside of this decommissioning facility. The Martez sisters. Was anyone here expecting that?
Not at all. Like literally the least expected cameo ever. I mean, a lot of things to consider. They're apparently working for early rebellion. Like, I don't know. What the heck?
It seems that way. It does seem that way. Well, so I don't think any of us were super big fans of the Martez sisters. Now there is a group of people in the fandom out there who like have a pretty strong hatred for those characters. That's like goes way too far.
Wrong.
I think we're kind of more so in the middle ground. Like we didn't love those episodes when compared to the rest of season 7 of Clone Wars, but like we don't hate them. But I'll say for my part, I had a lot more fun with them this time around than I did in the Clone Wars. How'd y'all feel about that?
Yeah,
I'm glad that they were there, so they showed that their resiliency, right, in the wake of the Empire coming up. So you have Trace, who has her own ship that we saw in season 7 of the Clone Wars. So that's what they were what they got out of Corellia on. So you see that they're still working together, right? And apparently, from what I took from it, it looks like they might be trying to work with Saw Gerrera and his faction.
Maybe
that could be a stretch.
Yeah,
but just
the
the very end.
Around, talk about that.
The very end of the episode, we'll talk about at the end. But
yeah,
I mean, it was a welcome sight, I guess. I never thought we would see them again.
Yeah,
so, yeah, it was
me
surprise.
Either. Yeah, me either.
And they seem way more capable, right? Like when we saw them in the Clone Wars, Trace was panicking and dumping all the spice load out into hyperspace, right?
Like,
for no
why?
good reason. And we were like,
why did that make any sense?
But here they gave Bad Batch a run for their money.
Yeah, they did. They did. I mean, we've talked about that. We've talked about this before on the show. Eric and I kind of share this opinion. Incompetence as a character trait, like for a protagonist, is not a great storytelling like metric, right? Like I really dislike characters that are woefully incompetent continuously and never grow, right? Like it just makes for irritating characters. It's one of my controversial opinions. One of the reasons I didn't love Ezra Bridger early on in the Rebels TV show is he sucks so hard. He screws everything up and it drives me nuts, right? Like when they're just super incompetent. So if you can see that growth where they go from not being able to do stuff to actually being able to do stuff well, I enjoy that. So it looks like they're figuring it out, right? So it was cool seeing them kind of have a plan together, and they totally gave, you're right, they totally gave Bad Batch a run for their money, and I liked it. I like the goodness that they showed. Like they're good in heart. They saved Omega, right? I really liked that they said that. One of them did, yeah, that's right. Who was that, by the way? Their faces were in their helmet. I couldn't tell who was who.
Trace was the one has the good heart. Rafa is the one that just seems that the mission first, then people second, I guess.
Yeah. Rafa still seems sketchy, but not as bad as she did in the Clone Wars, I felt like. So now, I do really love that voice actress. Whoever does her voice, it's such a distinct voice. It's really cool.
It is. Now that you've read the start of the High Republic, and Charles, you just brought up that they dumped the spice into the hyperspace lanes. Does everybody get a contact high? From this spice going out in the hyperspace lanes?
It's like
a little something.
Yeah, it's like driving down the highway, and it's like,
what's this pollen on my car?
It's a skunk. I smell a skunk, and it like stinks for like 5 minutes as the car has to. You got to put the windows down, let the air get out and circulate.
Dude, you know that spice cloud ended up on Nar Shaddaa.
Oh my God, yes.
Oh man, I love it. It's not the great disaster. It's like the great contact high.
Right. It's like when you're sitting at a traffic light and the person in front of you is hotboxing, and like you see it. It's coming out the windows. You're like, oh, they're vaping. You're like, they're vaping. All right. Yeah.
All right. Sorry.
All right. Well, yeah, it's high per space now. Hey, Eric's not here. I got to do dad jokes, y'all. Come on. I'm doing the best I can. All right, well, let's talk about who the heck are the Martez sisters working for. Let's go ahead and just get down to it, because again, recap, at the end of the episode, they use R7, who is an important piece of this puzzle, right? The droid R7, to place a call to somebody, and we couldn't see who it was. We just kind of maybe saw like a shoulder, like part of the side of them. And they basically report that there's Bad Batch is out and about, and that they thought that this contact of theirs might be interested in that. So who do you think this is, using the context clues that we had in this episode?
You said Saw Gerrera earlier, Wes. You think it's Saw Gerrera?
No, I think it might be Crosshair. That's how they bring him back in.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
You think they're working directly for Crosshair? Wow.
Well, not
So you think
Well, I think he
Crosshair
put
is
out-
posing as a rebel guy? And
So I think he put out something like to the vast majority, like a rebel guy or something, and
No
said,
way.
"Hey, if you got any information on these guys are bad, and I need info on them so I can bring them in, so we can,
interesting.
get most of the information." So I think that we're almost halfway through the season, right?
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
Yeah, that had
Interesting.
never occurred to me.
Nope,
but
never
that's a
occurred to me
good
either.
thought.
Interesting thought. It looked like Jedi robes, in my opinion. Like, like the edge of the shirt that we saw looked like Jedi robes. Maybe
So
it's.
you're saying this is Mace Windu?
I mean, I
All
guess
right,
it
now,
could
what do
be
you think,
Mace
Charles?
Windu.
That's it, Corey.
That's all I got.
No, go ahead. So these are Jedi robes. Who's even around during this time period that you think it might be?
Right. So we have people that are around that are obvious answers, like Ahsoka. Could be Ahsoka, but Ahsoka doesn't usually wear that sort of. It looked tan. It looks like Obi-Wan robes, kind of, right? But I kind of doubt that it's Obi-Wan, right? Obi-Wan should be in hiding. Princess Leia's lines make it seem like nobody had ever contacted Obi-Wan ever since he left, right? He's been out there by himself this whole time, doesn't know anything about the rebellion. But I guess it could be Obi-Wan. I also thought maybe it could be Kanan Jarrus. Is he around yet? I don't know how old he is yet. I guess he's.
Well, we saw
him in the
not
first
that long
episode,
ago,
right?
right?
Oh, that's true. That's true. Never mind. We did see him not that long ago, so he's too young. My bad. Obvious. I'd say what would be refreshing. I would like to see somebody new. A new Jedi that survived. That would be cool. I imagine there's a lot of Jedi still, like both through the comics and everything. Vader had to hunt down all the Jedi, right? So there's a whole bunch of Jedi still around. So it would be really cool to see somebody new introduced that we did not think had survived, and they did survive. That would be cool. Totally welcome the idea. That's something else. I really love the clones and Order 66. Something else that really interests me in a time period that I really enjoy is like the lone Jedi kind of on the run from the Empire. Like that era is really fun for me too, and I really enjoy those stories. So I would love to get somebody new like that.
Yeah.
I
think that would
Charles,
be
any
cool.
thoughts?
Well, I can't take credit for this. I have a theory that makes the most sense to me now after thinking about it and reading through like our Discord and stuff. I think the first person I saw bring this up was Timothy Guthrie, one of our podcasting brothers from Conjure Book Club. He pointed out that they have R7, right? The droid R7 that was Ahsoka's droid that was with the Y-Wing that Rex takes at the end of the Clone Wars Season 7. And so it would make sense anyways to bring Rex in, right? Since he knows about the inhibitor chips and all that stuff. So
and we know that's going to happen
makes
anyway.
The most sense. But I think Bale could make sense too, because we know his whole Fulcrum role. This might be a little bit early on in the timeline for that. Yeah. I think it is too early in the timeline for Ahsoka to be in that role as
Mon
well.
Mothma maybe. Could be Mon Mothma. The robes might actually fit Mon Mothma too, actually.
Yeah. Someone from that early core group of forming the rebellion.
I wonder if we're, typically when they give us barely a tease like this, like it's usually something that doesn't get like fed back around on for a while. So I wouldn't be surprised if we don't find this out for like 5 or 6 more episodes.
What if it's just Bib Fortuna again?
Oh my god.
Like,
oh my god.
I see some other interesting thoughts in the chat here. B Nasty says that could it be Sid who's playing both sides and sent the girls and Bad Batch on the same mission. I guess we'd have to know kind of what her ultimate motives are to figure out if that makes sense. But
Cheryl
some
said
other
it's not
people
Sid,
said oh, all right, well, there we go. Some other people said, could this be Maul? Could this be relating to some of the Crimson Dawn stuff?
Maul. Listen, nobody could look at Maul and be like, yeah, this guy's a good guy. Like, he works for the good guys. There's no doubt.
Dryden Voss. Could be Dryden Voss.
Dryden Voss. Yeah, something to do with them. I think R7's probably the puzzle piece that we have now to work off of.
I'd like to change my answer, and I'd like to edit this podcast from 15 minutes ago.
So that you said it at the very beginning. Yes. Well, so I think we'll find out soon enough, but really, really fun way to end the episode, I think, to be introducing this new player into everything that's going on. And I think we're going to start getting to some even juicier stuff here pretty soon. We're going to get Crosshair back, I imagine. We're going to get Tarkin back. We still have to see what's going on Camino with everything there. Fennec Shan is still out there. I mean, we don't know what Sid is up to. Like we've brought in the Hutts for at least one episode. I mean, there's so many threads out there that are going to get tied up. I think we have some good TV ahead of us.
Yeah. Usually when we run into episodes like this and we go to a planet that's so familiar that we've heard like throughout the Skywalker saga. So today I had, like, when I was watching it, I had to pause the show. And I was like, all right, we're on Corellia, and this is between episode 3 and episode 4. Do we get a Han Solo and a Kira running through the streets on Corellia?
That would be such a cool cameo.
5-year-olds or something, but that might be too much of a stretch to add.
I don't know how old they are. How old are they? I mean, they're young.
Yeah, they got to be around, right? But I don't know.
Yeah, I think this would be somewhere in their White Worms time, probably.
Early onset, that'd be fun.
Maybe, but we could see like Lady Proxima, like as
that would be good.
Power broker on Corellia.
Love Lady Proxima, such a creepy, weird character, and her voice. I love her voice.
Yeah,
that's a rock, and you just made a little clicking sound with your mouth.
Oh man, good stuff. Well, I think I know how I'm going to spend the rest of my Saturday here. I'm going to go and watch Solo after this. But guys, any final thoughts on this episode? Let's just take it one at a time. Anything that you're looking forward to figuring out in particular? Wes, let's start with you.
I'm looking forward to see what's going to happen with Wrecker, because they've already lost a member of their team to something resembling the chip, right? With Crosshair. So are they? It looks like that Crosshair and Wrecker are the only ones that are having issues with their inhibitor chips. So are they making a Bad Batch version 2 where they get these guys back because of their chips? I don't know, but we'll see what happens with these guys.
You bring up a good point. What constitutes a batch? Like, if they keep losing people, can they still be the Bad Batch?
Just cook up another batch, you know?
I don't know. All right, Corey, you got any final thoughts?
Yeah, I said a long time ago that I felt like the theme of the show was going to be like slowly the Bad Batch like hooks up with the rebellion and like becomes part of that, and maybe we lose a couple of them along the way, but they somehow get tied up in the rebellion. Like, I would like to see that. That'd be, I think that's the direction we're going. So I'm excited to see the early rebellion stuff come together. Now, given we are so early, this is well before even the Rebels TV show, right? And we barely see the rebellion come together in Rebels, right? Like, so I mean, we're like so early that it's like barely even a thought. I mean, I imagine there's no organization of rebellion whatsoever. So I'll be excited to see I don't know if we've ever seen that before. I don't know if we've ever seen the absolute very early days of the rebellion where people were afraid to even talk about standing up against the Empire. I don't think we've ever seen that before. So that's a cool thought, and I would really like to see that come together. And maybe Bad Batch, they clearly have special skills. Maybe they play a role in building, rebel intelligence or something like that. Rebel special forces. Maybe they have a role in that. It would be sick. So that'd be cool.
Give them the old Star Killer treatment from Force Unleashed, right? That
would
be pretty solid.
Sure.
I like that thought too. It's pretty cool that since we don't necessarily have like a big, huge rebellion yet, like we can see a lot of these smaller groups that we know are out there, who, there's a vacuum to some degree with the Empire being so new. And so maybe we'll see them move in. Now, I'm just so stoked now to hopefully see Lady Proxima, but I'm going to manage my expectations. I'm just excited to get back to Camino. I hope that we do that soon. And I'm sure we're going to have all these answers to our questions here before too long. But
and Tech has a new nickname. It's Goggles. So we got to start
Goggles.
Oh,
that's right.
If we're going to talk about names, it'd be a real shame if we did not talk about that line. Is there an Echo in here? And then Echo runs over and he's like, yeah, I'm Echo. Like, yes, that was pretty solid.
Ridiculous. Yeah. I know.
Okay. I mean,
that was pretty solid.
A little comedic in interpretation that doesn't hurt every now and then.
Yeah. Well, I appreciated it. And maybe there's another dad joke there for Eric being absent. So we'll take that. But I think that'll do it this week, y'all. So Thank you, everyone, for being here despite Eric's absence. I know things were a little bit crazy, but I think that we made it work. We're going to be here every week, whether we got Eric or not, whether we got Corey or not. If you remember to watch the episode, we'll see. And pretty soon, y'all, on Monday night, remember, we are going to be doing part 1 of our Thrawn Greater Good Roundtable. So I'll tell you, I pulled my hair out over these roundtable prompts over the past few weeks. That is such a complex, convoluted book. But I hope that you'll join us for that. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of fun with that. But for now, thank you again for listening to this week's episode of Bounty Hunt. Keep your eyes out for the next hunt when we're going to be diving into episode 7 of The Bad Batch. A special thank you goes out to Cheryl Bell, Patrick Ortiz, and Carl Sander on our Jedi High Council, Elizabeth Cloutier, Jason Mitchell, Freddie C., and Sally and Chris Eilerson on our Alliance High Command for their amazing support. Go ahead and tell us all your thoughts about The Bad Batch in our Discord community at youtini.com/Discord, and be sure to follow the main show on Twitter at Living Force Pod, and all of us individually for our latest thoughts on all things Star Wars. Eric, who's not here, is at Eric Eilerson. Corey is at Doc Star Wars MD. I am at C Hankel, and Wes is at Boss Wes. Until next time, Dewanawanga.